How many times have you heard SaaS is dead? Software as a service isn't going to keep going anymore with AI. Or on the other hand, no, SaaS is fantastic. AI is going to make SaaS work even better. It's going to transform the industry and give us new growth. I'm not interested in the bull case. I'm not interested in the bear case. I am interested in the fundamental dynamics in software and how they've changed with AI. And I think that's particularly true for software as a service. And I want to lay out three of them in this video that, as someone who works in that space, I have seen start to come into play over the last couple of years. And they're just getting more prominent. All right, number one, customization at scale. It used to be a bad word. In fact, coming up in product in the 2010s in software, you were taught not to do customization. Customization was a bad word. As recently as 2020, 2021, you would fail product questions if you proposed too much customization for big customers. The idea was software should taste like chicken. It should be consistent. It should be somewhat flavorful. Maybe it's not everyone's favorite, but it works to put food on the table. And that was so consistent and so true that the actual unit economics of software were also consistent. So a private equity firm could roll up a bunch of different SaaS companies, treat them all the same, and get similar margin and similar cash flow out of all of them. That is going to be different going forward. So the fundamental change that AI has enabled is customization at scale. That's much bigger than a chatbot. Fundamentally, instead of this dynamic of we build the same software for everyone, AI is driving customization expectation and customization capabilities. So fundamentally, customers are used to now getting personalized answers whenever they want them from a chatbot. They expect more. The bar has been raised. This is good. At the same time, AI is enabling software providers to deliver customization in their apps. And that's much more than just slapping a chatbot onto the website. It's actually being thoughtful about how you wrap in AI so the customization works in ways that enhance customer workflows and sort of provide wraparound experiences rather than a one-size-fits-all flat experience. So that's lever number one. I think companies that are able to take advantage of that will win. And my suspicion is that this is actually an area where new companies are going to find it easier because wrapping that kind of customization into existing companies is really hard work. It's not impossible. We see companies doing it, but it's tough. Lever number two, the cost of intelligence. At the end of the day, intelligence is going to zero from a cost perspective. That means the supply of intelligence is going up, I don't know, 1 million-fold. We'll use 1 million just for working. If it's getting that easy to access human level intelligence, that means that the predictive deterministic intelligence that software provides is only going to be valuable where it actually solves a business problem and does so in a cost-effective manner and removes liability from the company in question. And I'll get into all of those. So traditional deterministic software without AI in it, it is intelligence that solves a problem. It's just brittle intelligence. It just solves that one thing. It's not general purpose intelligence in any sense. And so with general purpose intelligence coming in, the opportunity is really to enable more effective solutions for companies across a wider range of use cases, which sounds a lot like customization, but doing so without imposing price increases or with limited price pressure. Because at the end of the day, the other dynamic here with the cost piece is that there are a lot of ankle biters or new funded VC companies that are going to be able to come into the space and compete on the basis of cost because the cost of a general purpose model is now so low. They may not be actually as effective, but the substitution value may be there if the price competition is strong enough. Net, this is going to be more price pressure on SaaS companies. And they are going to need to find ways to deliver more intelligence at a lower cost across a wider range of use cases. And they're going to need to do so while providing what they traditionally have provided, which is a little bit of a liability shield. No one got fired for choosing Salesforce, and we underestimate the value incumbents have because they are incumbents. And so in this situation, I would actually give the advantage to incumbents because they have the treasury to invest in new AI solutions. They have the margin to absorb some price pressure, and they have that established reputation that acts as effectively a liability shield. Lever number 3, workflow breakage. So at the end of the day, one of the most unpredictable things about AI is that it entirely removes certain niches in the ecosystem that previously existed. I think my favorite example right now of this is the budding competition between Figma and V0 by Vercel. So V0 is an LLM-driven front-end application building tool. But the problem is it does such a good job at coding up front end that you kind of don't need Figma, and I'm not the only one saying that. There's a lot of other folks who are wondering and noticing they don't use Figma as much as they needed to. That's an example of traditional workflows getting upended because LLMs enable such fast paths to value. And my working assumption here is that anything that is farther away from the code base is more at risk. Because at the end of the day, software is about delivering code to customers that works. If you have job functions, if you have pieces of the value chain, tools that support job functions that are farther back of the code, farther away from the code, I think you're inherently at risk. Workflow breakage is going to lead to huge winners overnight as people start to eat into traditional longer workflows and dramatically compress them. I don't know where all the breakpoints are going to be in 2025, but they're coming. If you thought this was interesting, I put a good solid Substack up on this. I think it's something we need to talk about a whole lot more. As I said, I'm not interested in whether it's a bull case for SaaS or a bear case for SaaS. I want us to understand the levers and how we as builders can use those levers to build companies that have value.